Today we're diving into 10 dark psychology tricks used to control you. These tricks are wielded by people from the dark triad: narcissists, Machiavellians, and psychopaths. This video is going to get dark. With these tricks, you can control people and defend yourself. And if you think the world is a good place, you can skip this video right now. Darkness is never confined to the night alone. It hides in our thoughts, our hearts, and our relationships. When a person awakens their most sinister side, the game we call normal behavior transforms into a dangerous trap. These 10 dark psychology tricks, filled with cunning disguised as innocence, not only confuse the mind, but also tear at the soul. If you want to understand how these psychological weapons capture both your mind and heart, prepare yourself for this journey, because this isn't just knowledge, this is a warning about forces that can dominate the darkness within you. But today, we'll only understand 10 dark psychology tricks. This will be part 1 of the video. The reason is that the script I've written creates a 50-minute video because I've fully explained every single point, which is why I've divided this video into 2 parts. So let's enter Lucifer's world. Part 1. Love bombing to emotional starvation. Deep as the night was that love which swallowed everything at first sight. He said, "You are my world," but in reality, he was just devouring my world. This is the story of that dangerous game, which in psychological terms is called love bombing to emotional starvation. It wasn't love, it was a trap. He looked at me like I was a falling star, and he gathered me into his arms. Every morning, his "Good morning, princess." Every night, his "I miss you to the moon and back." Every promise, every flower, every sweet word was a pill dipped in poison. Love bombing, an attack that falls like flowers but cuts like a dagger from within. He listened to every song I liked. He showed interest in everything I said. I thought, this is real love. No, this was a mask, because a real magician first makes people laugh, then distracts them and picks their pockets. Then one day, everything went silent. No text, no call, just an ignored blue tick. Like my breath was falling into a black hole. Emotional starvation. That moment when you need emotional oxygen, but the person in front of you has shut off your tank's valve. I messaged, "What happened?" The reply came, "I'm a bit busy. You understand, right?" He wasn't busy. He was busy making me suffer.
Why do they do this? Love bombing is a false heaven, and emotional starvation is a true hell. Psychopaths, narcissists, and manipulators use this trick because first they make you emotionally addicted, then they slowly reduce the dosage and you start begging for every "I love you." This is the same game a drug dealer plays. First, he gives you a free sample, then after you're addicted, he charges the price. Sia was an ordinary girl. Rohit came like raindrops of relief in the rainy season. The first week, flowers, dinners, dates. I've never felt this way about anyone. The second month, fewer calls, more excuses. And Sia started blaming herself. Did I say something wrong? The third month, ghosting. And then suddenly returning as if nothing happened. This was the emotional starvation cycle. For Rohit, it was just a game. For Sia, it was slow poison death. The effect of this? Such love doesn't kill you. It turns you into a living corpse while you're still alive. You start doubting yourself, self-respect gets shattered, and every next relationship begins with suspicion. How to protect yourself? Love that starts too fast is a danger sign. The person who lifts you up only to drop you down isn't love, they're a predator. True love is stable, not a roller coaster. No response is a response. Don't search for someone who disappears. He didn't love me, he played with my soul, and now I've emerged from that darkness, but the wounds still breathe. Part 2. Gaslighting. The truth was burned and I didn't recognize it. Maybe it was my fault. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe I'm going crazy. When a person starts saying this to themselves repeatedly, understand that it's not them speaking, but someone else planted inside them. This is the story of gaslighting, a mental technique where your truth is turned into a weapon against you.
That stranger who distanced me from myself loved me. At least that's what I thought. One day I said, "Last night you ignored me. I felt it." She smiled and said, "You overthink too much. I didn't do anything. You always make mountains out of molehills." That day, I was confused. The next day, guilty. The third day, I stopped thinking. Because every time I raised a question, she surrounded my mind with questions. What is gaslighting? Gaslighting is a psychological technique where a person's trust in their own experiences is lifted. That never happened. You misunderstood. Your memory is bad. These aren't small sentences. These are mental weapons that erase your thinking, your identity. How does gaslighting work? Invalidating your feelings. You're overreacting, twisting and presenting the truth. "I never said that." Accusing you of lying. "You always misunderstand me." Doubting your memory. Your memory's so weak. Slowly, you begin to fear your own mind. Why do people gaslight? Control, to make the other person a mental slave. Power, to hide their mistakes. Dominance, so you keep saying sorry. Manipulation, because when you doubt yourself, they can mold you however they want. Gaslighting isn't just in relationships. Bosses, parents, friends, gurus, anyone can do it. How to protect yourself? Trust your experience. If something felt bad to you, that's your truth. Write a diary. Record every incident so no one can erase your mind. Set boundaries. Whoever denies your truth cannot be yours. Get support. A friend, a therapist, someone should be there who keeps your mirror clean. She told me I was crazy, and I believed it. But now that I've found myself again, I know the truth was always inside me. It was just suppressed. Part 3. Triangulation. He laughs more with her than with me. Am I not the same as before? Why does he always bring up someone else's name to make me jealous? If a third person keeps entering your relationship, maybe it's not a coincidence, but someone has placed these pawns deliberately. This is triangulation, a dark psychological trick where it's not love, but a hunger for power that plays. The one who loved me smiled when mentioning someone else. Sitting in front of me was the same person who called me his life partner, but his words were about someone else. Neha is so understanding, isn't she? Shreya talks to me so openly. These conversations started like every day, and each time a needle pricked my heart. I kept thinking, have I become boring? And that's where triangulation began. What is triangulation? Triangulation is a manipulative strategy where a person twists emotions between 3 people to create dominance. It's a psychological trap where one is made jealous, another is elevated, and the third player gains power. How does this game work? Step 1. Idealize the other person. You're not as understanding as they are. Step 2. Devalue you. You complain about everything. Step 3. Control. Your emotional reaction gives them validation. Look how important I am. They're fighting over me. What's the effect? Self-doubt increases. Is there something wrong with me? The poison of comparison fills the heart. You start begging to prove yourself, and most dangerous, you start hating yourself.
Why do people triangulate? They need attention. When you make 2 people fight, you come to the center. They need control. Whoever bends more is easier to control. They need validation. One person's love isn't enough. They want worship. They need an ego boost. They enjoy knowing 2 people are fighting over signs someone is triangulating. Mentioning a third person in every small matter. Constantly undervaluing you and elevating the other. Trying to divide attention. Dismissing your pain by giving someone else's example. How to protect yourself. As soon as someone compares you to someone else, say, "I'm not a competition, I'm a person." Set boundaries. If a third person's name enters our relationship, then this isn't a relationship, it's drama. Stay emotionally stable. They want to provoke you. Don't react, respond. Exit when necessary. Love never becomes a competition. Where there's comparison, there's no respect. He made me compete not with her, but with myself. And when I broke, he still smiled. Because he didn't want love, he wanted power. And I had mortgaged my soul for that trap I thought was a relationship. Part 4. Silent treatment. He said nothing, but I broke. It was 3 a.m. I was staring at my phone screen, the blue glowing scene mark, and after that, silence. No reply, no anger, no love, just a silent wall. Had I made some mistake? Was she upset with me? Will she never talk again? She wasn't saying anything, but her silence was screaming inside me, punishing me. What is silent treatment? Silent treatment is a psychological weapon where silence is used like poison to emotionally punish someone. It's a weapon where no blood flows, but the soul gets wounded. How is this silence given? Your mistake isn't explained, but conversation stops. Calls, messages, all ignored. No response to your presence. You're made invisible. This isn't a break. This is punishment, so you break and bend. Psychological effects. Confusion. What did I do? Self-blame. There's something wrong with me. Anxiety. Waiting every minute for a reply. Dependency. You become a slave to that person's validation. They make you suffer, so you come under control. What's the purpose of silent treatment? Power shift. Making the other person feel they have no worth. Emotional control. When the other person does everything you want out of fear. Giving punishment. Punish them without saying anything, so fear remains next time. Avoiding accountability. Don't argue, just stay silent and manipulate. Signs of silent treatment. Stopping communication over every small thing. Not replying and later pretending nothing happened. Blaming you. I had to stay silent because of you. How to deal with it. Reality check. Is this silence for something wrong or for manipulation? Set limits. If someone repeatedly punishes with silence, they're not loving you, they're controlling you. Try talking once, not repeatedly. Give boundaries, not answers, to whoever uses silence as a weapon. Ask yourself, have I just become a slave to this person's attention? She said nothing, and I apologize to myself every day. Her silence killed the voices inside me. And then I understood, love isn't what speaks. Real poison is what stays silent and still eats you from inside. Part 5. Future faking. I want to see you in a red sari on our wedding day. Our daughter's name will be Sia. After 3 years, we'll open a small cafe at a hill station. He wove a new dream with me every day, and I started weaving my consciousness, my hopes, my entire life into those dream threads. But one day he left. Didn't keep promises, didn't say goodbye, just left my imaginations orphaned. Now I understand he wasn't loving me, he was just future faking. What is future faking? Future faking is a dark psychological trick where a person gains your trust, loyalty, and control by showing false future dreams without any intention of ever fulfilling those promises. This is emotional fraud, where a fake dream breaks a real heart. How does this trap work? Phase 1, fantasy injection. Our life together will be so beautiful, won't it? He plans as if the wedding is tomorrow. Phase 2, emotional hooking. You become emotionally invested. Now my future is only with them. Phase 3, control and compliance. Now you do whatever they say because you don't want to lose that future. Phase 4, vanishing act. One day, everything goes silent. They disappear, and all dreams turn to ash.
Why is future faking done? To gain control. When someone knows that showing the future makes you bend today. For instant gratification, getting emotions, attention, and sex without giving commitment. Avoiding accountability, a way to postpone every tough conversation.
We'll settle everything later. Narcissistic supply. They like it when someone blindly trusts their words. Signs of future faking. Starting to talk about our future very quickly. Only talking without any concrete steps. Always postponing promises. Getting angry or making you feel guilty whenever you ask for answers.
How to protect yourself. Don't watch promises, watch patterns. What does he do matters more than what he says. Learn to demand a timeline. If the answer to when is vague, understand it's deception. Keep emotional boundaries. No one can control you by selling dreams. Don't be ashamed to ask for proof. If they make promises, where's the action? He told me a new story every day, and I slept every night considering him my destiny. But one day when he left, I understood he was never in my life, only in my imagination, because he stole my future to play his game today. Part 6. Mirroring. You think that too? Oh my God, same. Pinch me. On our first meeting, he said, "You also like rain?" OMG, same here. You like books? I also read every day. You like staying away from people? Hey, I'm also an introvert. Within days, he became like me. My likes, my habits, my temperament, everything, as if he was learning by looking in a mirror. I thought, finally, someone understands me. But actually, he wasn't understanding me. He was entering me so he could separate me from myself. What is mirroring? Mirroring is a dark psychological trick where someone deliberately copies your gestures, thoughts, language, likes and dislikes so you feel an instant connection with them. The real intention is to make you feel they're your soulmate, when in reality, they're becoming your reflection to bypass your defense system. How does mirroring work? Rapid bonding. He says everything you want to hear. Your pain, your words, he understands it all. False compatibility. We're so alike. This illusion forms. Trust penetration. When you feel someone fully understands you, you drop your defense. Emotional hijack. Now you trust them so much that even if they break you, you can't blame them. Why do psychopaths do mirroring? To build instant attachment. When you say, "This person gets me," to hack trust, creating the illusion of empathy so you tell them everything, to gain control. When they know what you want, they can give you exactly that temporarily. To drain identity, stealing your identity, they can expose your weaknesses not only to you, but to others. When mirroring isn't real, someone starts calling you soulmate very quickly. Every conversation floods with "same here." They're scared to talk about their past or feelings, but want to know everything about you. Silent mimicry of your boundaries. They do everything the same way you do. How to protect yourself. Slow down the bonding. Instant connection is always suspect. Ask deep questions. What don't you like about yourself? If their answers are perfect, they might be rehearsed. Observe, don't react. Stay calm and watch their consistency. Check for depth. Do they hold their own opinions or just agree with yours? He laughed like me, thought like me. I felt I knew him better than myself. But when he left a fear inside me that the shadow I thought was mine had come to steal my identity. Part 7. Blame shifting. This all happened because of you. He cheated on me and then said, "If you understood me, maybe this would never have happened." He played with my emotions and then said, "You forced me to become like this." Every wound he gave, he blamed me for it too. You became like this because of your behavior. If you were better, I wouldn't have to lie. I didn't do anything wrong. You did. And I started considering myself guilty for my own pain. What is blame shifting? Blame shifting is a dark psychological strategy where a person throws the responsibility of their mistake, fault, or sin onto someone else so they can escape guilt, accountability, and consequences.
This is smoke in human form that first burns you, then says you lit the fire. How does blame shifting work? Creating emotional confusion. The other person manipulates you into thinking, I didn't do anything, it was all your reaction. Reverse victim and offender. The guilty one shows themselves as the victim and makes you the culprit. Guilt-based control. When you feel guilty, you apologize, when the apology should have been theirs. Reputation loop. Repeated blame shifting makes you question yourself. Was it really my fault? Why do people blame shift? To escape accountability. Don't blame me, everything happened because of you. To transfer guilt, so you become apologetic and they become controlling. To maintain power. When you start doubting yourself, they can easily control you. Image management. So in the outside world, they appear as the victim and you as toxic. Signs someone is blame shifting? I did this because you ignored me. If you were perfect, I wouldn't have done this. On every mistake, they clean themselves and make you the cause. Instead of apologizing, guilt tripping. How to protect yourself? Keep a reality check. Was the mistake really yours or just the illusion of guilt created? Recognize patterns. Does all blame come to you? Hold them accountable. Ask them, do you take responsibility for your actions? Therapy or third-person perspective. Sometimes an outsider can show the truth better. He broke my heart and said it was a lack of your love. He lied to me and said your questions forced me. He burned my soul and said you lit the fire. But today I look in the mirror and say it wasn't my fault. I was just carrying the cross of lies he put on me.
Fake vulnerability. I'm very broken, he said softly. Don't take this away from me. I'm already very broken. Everyone loved, but no one understood me. My dad was abusive, mom left, and now you too. His voice was trembling. Eyes were moist, face innocent, such that anyone would melt. I let go of all my anger, thought this person is wounded. They need love, not medicine, not punishment. But what I didn't know was that this wound was their weapon. They used their brokenness to break me. What is fake vulnerability? Fake vulnerability is a dark psychological trick where someone steals your sympathy, trust, and control by showing fake pain, false tears, and a story-decorated weakness. They say, I'm broken, but in reality, they're fully prepared to break you. How does fake vulnerability work? Emotional hook. You think, I can't leave them, they're already broken. Defensive shutdown. You can't question them because they already appear to be suffering. Guilt induction. If you confront them, they say, you're also ignoring my pain. Sympathy as manipulation tool. Taking sympathy, they run from accountability. Why do psychopaths do fake vulnerability? Trust hacking. Appear weak, become powerful. Guilt control. You'll never want to hurt them because they're already broken. Accountability escape. Ready excuse for every mistake. I'm mentally unstable. Empathy trap. Attract empaths and exploit them. When to understand vulnerability is fake. In every story, they're the victim, never the one who made mistakes. Whenever you ask for any accountability, they show emotional breakdown. Vulnerability is selectively used whenever they're cornered. Their stories are always dramatic. There's inconsistency in details. How to protect yourself? Check consistency. Does their pain only activate at convenient moments? Maintain boundaries. True vulnerability doesn't cross your limits. Fake always guilt trips. Look for pattern, not pain. Every person has a past, but are they making their past a tool? Don't lose self-respect in empathy. Loving isn't bad, but losing yourself isn't love. It's becoming a victim. She appeared broken, so I forgot myself trying to put together her pieces. But what I didn't see was that her tears were fake and my wounds were real. She just wanted me to become a character in her broken story so she could leave me incomplete like herself. Part 9. Intermittent Reinforcement. Sometimes he felt so mine, and sometimes completely a stranger. One day he loved so much that I'd forget the world in his arms, and the next day I was a stranger in his eyes. Without reason, without warning, sometimes he'd lift me to the sky, sometimes throw me to the ground. I didn't know if today I'd get love or ignorance, and this very uncertainty sank me deeper into him, because the one who loves every time becomes a habit, but the one who loves sometimes becomes an addiction. What is intermittent reinforcement? This is a psychological technique where a person sometimes gives you love, praise, and attention, and sometimes suddenly becomes cold, distant, and cruel. This is an emotional lottery. You know sometimes you'll hit the jackpot, so every day you stay hoping. This is a technique used in casinos in slot machines, but here the game is your heart. How does intermittent reinforcement work? Random rewards. Sometimes they'll give you so much love you'll fly and then disappear for weeks without explanation, creating emotional dependency. You think maybe next time they'll love like that again. Confusion as a hook. When the brain can't understand the pattern, obsession develops. Hope cycle. Every time you want to leave, they suddenly become sweet again and you get trapped again. Why do psychopaths do this? To maintain control. The more unpredictable the connection, the more emotionally dependent you become on them. For ego boost. When you chase them repeatedly, their power trip is fulfilled. Avoid accountability. Saying, "I never promised." They're never committed, but make you addicted. Confuse and condition. This is a conditioning technique. Like Pavlov did with dogs, they do with your brain. How to recognize intermittent reinforcement. Sometimes intense attention, sometimes total silence. Excuses like "I was busy" come every time. You live in constant anxiety about what the next day will be like. You start blaming yourself. Maybe I did something wrong. Leaving feels impossible because what if tomorrow is good? How to protect yourself. Recognize the pattern. This isn't love, it's an addictive pattern. Maintain boundaries. If you disappear, I won't accept you. Remember your self-worth. You're not a slot machine where anyone can put a coin and win your emotions. Cut it cold. Every time you think next time will be better, you let yourself be robbed. He kept giving me doses of love and distance, and I kept understanding this is what love is. But today I understood. Love that comes sometimes is the most dangerous, because it neither lets you fully live nor fully die. Part 10. Projection. I hadn't done anything wrong, yet I was ashamed of myself. He was yelling at me, saying, "You doubt me, you're emotionally unstable, you're toxic," and I was hiding my tears, thinking maybe I am like this. Maybe I expect too much. Maybe I'm too sensitive. But what I didn't understand then was he wasn't yelling at me. He was running from himself. What is projection? Projection is a clever and dangerous mental trick where someone imposes their guilt, fear, shame, and weakness on you. They cheat and say you're flirty. They behave manipulatively and say you're controlling. They're insecure and say you're possessive. This isn't a psychological mirror. This is a smoke where not your reflection, but their crime is visible. How does projection work? Guilt dumping. They can't bear the guilt of their own actions, so they dump it on your head. Deflection from accountability. When they're at fault, they change the spotlight by accusing you. Manipulate your self-image. Hearing it repeatedly, you start believing yourself to be like that. Control through shame. When you start doubting yourself, you stop protesting. Why do psychopaths do projection? To save their image. They want to appear perfect, so they dump their flaws on you. To run from accountability, saying, "I never did anything," is easier when a finger has already been raised at you. For control and confusion, when you make the victim the guilty one, they lose their voice for justice. For transfer guilt, they hate themselves, so they give you that hate like a poisoned gift. How to recognize projection. Every time you question them, they shift the conversation to you. You feel guilty without doing anything wrong. They always say you overreact, you're toxic, you're needy, but their own behavior is toxic. You start losing confidence in yourself. How to protect yourself. Reality check. Don't connect every accusation to yourself. Think, is this really my behavior? Pattern recognition. If in every fight you're the only one found guilty, maybe you're not. They're the projector. Restore self-image with therapy or journaling so their lie doesn't become your truth. Keep boundaries. Learn to say, "I'm responsible for my actions, not yours. He threw his dirt on me and said, 'Clean it, it's yours.' And I was so confused that I actually believed the dust on my soul was my sin. But now I understand. He wasn't a mirror. He was a curtain where not me, only his truth was hidden."